Hi, and welcome to Mary Makes Studio. This is January 31st, and today I wanted to share with you the journal that I made for Junk Journal January, and it's hosted by Meg Journals, and she has a YouTube channel. I used a tutorial that Corey Duman had given us on how she made her journal so that it's kind of an accordion journal. You start with a few pieces of copy paper, and what you do is you take the sheet, and for this demonstration I'm not going to cut anything, but what I did was I cut the sheet of paper in half so that you've only got this half of the paper. So for this tutorial, for what I'm showing you right now, I'm just going to show you really quick by folding this so we can pretend that I've cut this sheet of paper in half. Okay? So what she does is the first thing is to fold the paper in half like this, and you can use your bone folder. It does make a nicer crease that's easier to use. She opens it back up, or no, I'm sorry, she doesn't. I'm sorry. She takes the first piece of that folded sheet and folds it back so that it lines right up with this. And then you flip it over and you fold the other flap back to meet this piece. So when you're done, you've got a W, or you can flip it around and call it an M. Either way, this is the basis for this book. Now what I did, I took, I think it was a total of 4 pieces of paper because I cut each one in half. And you take one piece on the end and you glue the matching one right up to it so that you end up with this long chain of pages, as many as you want. And don't forget, you can also use the back side, unless you want to do what I've done with my book. And what I did, I took these 2 pages and glued them, these 2, and glued them together also, so that it ended up looking like this. And I had, for instance, this was my cover, page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, and page 5. Now, if you have another one glued onto it, you're going to lose this page because there's 2 glued on. But I just made as many as I needed to have 31 days. Then, after I had everything glued together, I took a piece of wide washi tape, and this is 49 in Market, and I just taped everything together on that back border, and I glued the washi tape to this side and to this side to make sure it was not going to go anywhere. This page I made with just collaging some scraps that I had, an old envelope, or an old label, some what is it called, decoupage paper, and an old piece of ephemera, and then this cute little gnome in honor of my daughter who loves gnomes. The back page, I took some paper from Crafter's Companion, and I used a piece of it to cover the back. Now, the day 1, let me get my list here. I have to keep the list in here or I will completely lose it. Isn't that cute, the way to use your ephemera and tickets and things? I'm sorry, y'all, there's an ambulance going by. I'm sorry if it interrupts. But January 1st was the cover. So this was the first day. January the 2nd is envelope. So for January 2nd, doesn't look like there's an envelope there, does it? You flip it up. And what this is an old envelope that I have taken. It's a little policy envelope. And you can slide your paper in here, just like that. So it's a hidden little tuck spot. This is just a sticker I had, and I thought it went with the butterflies, so I added it to this page. January 3rd is tickets. So I went a little nuts with all the tickets that I have lying around. And I made this one a pocket so that I could stick this piece of paper that has the first 7 prompts on it in here so I could keep track of them and wouldn't have to keep looking at the photo on my phone to know what the day's prompt is. So I'm going to pull this out so I don't forget what the prompts are. January 4th is outline. This turned out so much better than I had hoped it would. I used alcohol inks and then alcohol pearls. And then I took the Tim Holtz stamp. It's one of the new ones, and it's just the outlines. I think it's called embroidery maybe, because this was from an embroidery pattern. And I just stamped them on these pages, and it just turned out stunning. January 5th was depth. Now, I'm not real super proud of this one, but this is what I came up with. I took a set of nesting dies, circles, and I put my smallest hole at the bottom, and then the holes get bigger as you go out. I also made this from alcohol ink paper that I had made, and you can see here where I had used a stencil for part of it. That was on a gel print. That I'm just not, I don't know. It didn't turn out quite the way I had hoped. And then I wrote on here January 5th, depth. And I used the, oh shoot, who makes them? I think they're Jelly Roll, maybe? But they're Pilot, hang on, I've got a bag. Hang on. This is what the bag looks like. And I bought mine from Spectrum Art Creations. But they're glazed pens, and what it is, when you write on them, it takes a moment for them to dry, but as you run your finger across, you can feel the ink as it raises off the page. So after I wrote January 5th in depth, I went back with the white pen, and I outlined the edge of it just to give it a little more depth on that page. But like I said, this is not one of my proudest pages that I've made. This one is emboss, and in crafting world, we have two different types of embossing. We have embossing folders, which is what this is, and then we have embossing powders. And I don't know if you can see that, where I have embossed the little stamp that I had of the vase for this. And it didn't turn out very clean because I've not done a whole lot of embossing. It's not my proudest work, but I did my best and I created. And that's the whole point of Junk Journal January, is to get there and create something. So that's January 6th. On January 7th, the prompt is tuck spot. So I made two. I took some ephemera and I just glued this card on the side and on the bottom to make a tuck on this side, and I stuck a little tag in it. On this side, I took a long ticket and a long piece of ephemera and stuck those in there, and it acts as a bookmark for my second set of prompts because I had run out of space on my little ticket here. So I lined the back of these pages. They are a sewing pattern, and I used Spectrum Art glue to glue the pattern paper down. Then I covered it with another layer so that it builds up a lot of strength. The Spectrum Art glue is absolutely amazing. It dries and there is no tackiness like you get with Mod Podge and other products I've tried. So if you have some time, you can go get it. It's not real expensive, and it comes in several sizes. I invested in the big 8-ounce jar. They call it the wide mouth jar because it's wide enough to put a pretty thick paintbrush in it. And then I just buy the refills, which are extremely affordable, especially when you consider the kind of glue it is. So the next page has the January 8th prompt, which is antique. This is from a 1923 Sunday school bulletin from a class. So I took a part of it that has the date and where it's from, and I put it on this page. Then prompt 9 is on this page. Prompt 9 is hidden. This is a hidden paperclip. And there are tons of videos out there, but you sandwich the paperclip between pieces of paper, and then you can just slide it back on the page. And now watch, I won't be able to get it back in. Hey, there it went. I'm impressed with myself. Okay, so prompt 10 is trim. I had this beautiful scrapbook paper. I think it was made by Sue Wingate, and it came from a pad of paper from K & Company, which sadly is no longer in business. But this is from a border punch that I have. What I did is I punched one side of the border on a piece of paper that I had used distress ink just to color. I flipped the paper around and I did the border on the opposite side so that it almost looks like a piece of lace. But that is paper trim as opposed to lace trim. There's all kinds of things you can do to substitute products in the crafting world. Prompt, let's see, which one is this? This is 11. Prompt 11 is magazine. I absolutely love gardening. So what I did is I took one of my magazines and I found a page that was nothing but types of plant pots, and I loved the images. So I just ripped the images out. First I took, I think this is Rustic Wilderness Distress Oxide ink, and I colored the copy paper with it. And then I just stuck my little pieces of designs on there. I took the glazed pen again, and I wrote along the sides and up here what the page represented. Page 11 is overlap. That's kind of obvious. I have overlapped everything on this page. I believe this right here is the top image. This, if you have never heard of it, it is a type of drywall seam tape. I discovered this product from Dear Julie, and it is a game changer. It is self-adhesive. This is actually the non-adhesive side. The adhesive side is white, and you can color it any color. But it just makes the most fun touch to any collage you make. Number 13's prompt was opaque. This one I was drawing a blank on. So what I ended up doing was taking watercolor and gouache. I think that's how you say it. It's spelled Gouache. The watercolor pencil is up here. That is a Tim Holtz distress crayon or distress watercolor pencil. And down here I use the gouache paint, which is much more opaque than the watercolor, as you can see. Number 14's prompt, or day 14, was balance. And I used this cluster because I thought it represented balance really well, just the way that it's laid out. This is some old textured paper that I had. I don't remember where I got it. Then day 15 is neutral. Now this is probably my favorite page. I absolutely love the way that this turned out. I started with a base of coffee dyed graph paper. I took the edges of some coffee dyed paper I had made that had gotten wrinkled, and I just ripped those off to frame the edges. I glued them down securely with Spectrum Arts glue. I took a coffee dyed doily, I stuck it in the middle, and this is actually a sticker I got. I believe that came from Taperlogy. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's Taperlogy, and it's a really great company for finding a lot of bulk supplies. And what they sell is usually products that Spectrum Arts does not carry, because you will find out on my channel I am extremely loyal to Spectrum Art Creations. They do not compensate me in any way, but I love the company, I love the family that runs it, and I'm going to try to get as many people to go shop from them as I possibly can. So, that's off my soapbox. Day 16 of January was Unfold. Now this sticker, I really don't want to tell you where I got it because I got it before I knew what the company did. I got it from Temu. And if you have heard of Temu, if you shop at Temu, I want to caution you that a lot of their materials are stolen property from the designers. For instance, before I knew better, I was buying dies and stamps from there. The ones that I gravitated toward, I discovered were stolen from Tim Holtz. So what I did is I threw those away. And then I bought the Tim Holtz ones because I don't want to be guilty of doing that. And I understand if you're on a budget, but you save up for things. So anyway, I used one of these old techniques that we used in high school, at least I did, to send notes to your friends that your teacher wouldn't see. I put a little arrow on here so you would know how to do it. And to close it back up, you just lift this top layer of paper and you tuck it back in. Just like that. But anyway, when you open it, then you can unfold it and unfold it and unfold it. And it's more of that coffee stained graph paper that I have. And so you got plenty of space to journal there. And it's not really hidden because it's very obvious that you're supposed to open this. But I just thought it was a really cute way to do something that unfolds. And I love that the sticker is flexible enough that it can move with the paper. Now, this one I'm going to have to look back at my prompts. This is day 17. 17 is fragile. I took some textured paper I had gotten, and I know that came from Typology. And over it, I laid a 49 in Market, 2 different die cuts. They are extremely fragile. I'm sorry, they're not die cuts. They are laser cut elements. I cannot remember which collection these came from. It might have been the their Rouge line, but I could be wrong. But anyway, these were in I store my flowers in a specific drawer, my flower pieces of paper, and they were getting bent, and I was really afraid they were going to break. So this made a perfect item to put under fragile. Day 18 is bright. Now, I do not normally use really bright colors, but this summer I saw this napkin at Dollar Tree, and I am a sucker for butterflies, guys. I will buy them anytime I see them. These came from a greeting card that I got at Dollar Tree, and you will I think you'll see more of the card in this thing. If not, it's in another one of my journals. But anyway, I used Spectrum Art glue across the page, laid my napkin down. Once I got it off as flat as I wanted it, I left some wrinkles. Then I coated it again with Spectrum Art Creations glue. And then I stuck my little butterflies on because it's a very bright page compared to the rest of what I do. Day 19 is bubble. I didn't have any bubble wrap, so I got a stencil that looks like bubbles. I used an acrylic paint pen, and I have one from Spectrum Noir, which is really nice. But because I am trying to use them up, I used the one that I had gotten at Dollar Tree, which is a Crafter's Square, which is their craft brand, and it's their silver pen. And I made my little dots and things with it. Then I took a glazed pen that came in blue, and I made little air bubbles from the fish going up. So I think it represents bubbles pretty well. Then the next day, this is why I have the bookmark in here, so I can find things. The next day is tissue, January 20th. This is a napkin, and I peeled all the layers off, and again used Spectrum Art to decoupage it on. Day 21 is a map. Well, there you go. This came from a printable by Victoria Designs on Etsy. Day 22 is repeat. Now, I had a hard time with this prompt too. What I ended up doing was I had all these little bulldog clip ephemera pieces from 49 at Market, and there were 2 of each color. So I repeated this pattern as closely as I could on the bottom side. So that's my version of repeat. Day 23 is newspaper. And this is just a piece of ephemera I made into a pocket. This is an article I found when my grandmother died 3 years ago about my twin cousins who were getting ready to, they had been together, done everything the same their whole lives. It's from May of 2004. And they went to college in different states. And they actually made our local newspaper. So that is a wonderful memento that I have of them. They're in their 30s now and doing very well. And I'm so proud of them. January 24th is line. I didn't have a clue what to do. So I took my Tombow dual brush tip pens in different colors. And this is actually a really pale blue. It's not white. and I just went across the page with lines. It's simple, but it's what I could come up with. 25 is modern. I don't have modern craft supplies. My style is much more of a vintage floral look. I am learning to get a little bit into the grunge thing because I think it's gorgeous, but I'm finding it very hard to do because of my minimalist look at things. Anyway, this had come as part of Creating with Jovi's scrap and glue or swap and glue that she had in January. And this is one of the pieces that she had sent to me. She and I exchanged. And this is one of the pieces she sent to me. And I just thought that these eyelashes are definitely a modern thing. They are not something you would have seen 30, 40 years ago. So that's my take on modern. The next one is a really fun page. The prompt is movement. And so I took some baker's twine I had that has gold around it. And I just laid it down on the paper, and then I took glue and glued it in place so that there's a sense of movement. I also wrote the letter or the word movement in a motion so that it's also a sense of movement. For this one, I combined days 27 and 28 because I was running out of pages and I didn't want to add more. Day 27 was crumpled. So I took a sheet of, it's like wax paper, and I crumpled it up in a ball, used my Spectrum Arts glue to glue it down and seal it. Then I took an envelope because day 28's prompt is sealed. I took an envelope I had, and I believe this is a Genevieve template design, one of her mini envelope templates. And I had printed it on some paper that I got from Colorbach way back, probably 5 to 10 years ago. And then I used one of my little wax seals, which I got off Amazon. And it is a hummingbird, and it is so cute. So that was days 27 and 28. And we're almost done. Day 29 seems to be glued together. Okay. Days 29 and 30 I combined. And you will see as I lift this one, day 29 was reveal. Well, in my mind, when I was writing it, I got confused. So this is my reveal. Day 30 is fabric. And you can see here, I had started to write 29 fabric and 30, and then I realized I did them backwards, so they go diagonally now. Anyway, this is a piece of that Crafter's Companion butterfly line paper. So this is my fabric reveal. Now the last one prompt was letter. And I thought about writing a little letter to myself, but I've done that in several other journals, and I wanted to try something different. So I started brainstorming, and I was looking in my stash for a large, just a single letter. Couldn't find one. Then I found these little stickers that I had gotten from a box from Topology, I believe. No, I'm sorry. It was not Topology. It is, oh goodness, Your Creative Studio. Yes, Your Creative Studio box. And I got the stickers that were letters in it. So I wrote out letter as my prompt and a Z because it's the end of the book. Anyway, that is my Junk Journal January 2025 album. It is tiny, and I love that because I've done really big journals in the past, and it's been very hard to fill up the pages because I'm new to crafting. I have only been crafting for a little over 4 years, but I love papers. And so I had been buying supplies long before I discovered junk journaling or anything else. So this is a new thing for me. I am really enjoying it. And thanks to the encouragement of a lot of people, including the Spectrum Art Friends group on Facebook, I decided to try making my own channel and to try an Etsy store to sell my creations because I've given stuff away to everybody I know, and they're kind of like, okay, we don't want any more. So this is what I'm going to do now. For me, this is not a full-time job, just so you know. I am a full-time caregiver for my mother and my husband, but this is what I do as my break every day. I come in my craft room and I shut the door when I know that they're both okay, and I just spend time crafting. So now I'm going to spend time crafting and making videos and journals, and I'm going to sell them to you guys. And I hope you love them. Have a wonderful day, and God bless you.